and you see, that you have to call the film commission. They will help you very much. Louisiana, because it managed to have such a good tax shelter, and immediately they understood that the sales, to sell the credit to a local company was something that they invented actually. So Hollywood started coming there to do films because the other choice was no one was making films in Hollywood anymore. Everyone was running to Canada or going overseas. All of a sudden, Louisiana came with this tax shelter, and of course everyone would prefer to work in America. They're close to home, the actors don't have to fly so far. Everyone wants to work next to home. So they build around it a huge industry. A lot of people from Hollywood who are unemployed move to Louisiana. They build stages there. They build post-production houses. They now have a deal that if you do your post-production there, you get more money. So, I had offers on my film, just come do the just put your editing room here, and you can put the whole post-production money and get, the points for this. So it's Louisiana is fantastic. Ohio was great until someone stole the money and they all went to jail, which is a good story. Canada is fantastic, I must say.
Canada is the best.
Canada is the best because they have been doing it the longest, and they actually are very well organized. They will give you a check at the end, but I'm representing the U.S.
Sorry.
But I was also
Canada is the best. Canada is the best, I must say. It's easy. I worked there for 3 years. It's easy. It's very well oiled. They have good crews. The prices are not so low, though.
But the lawyers' prices are lower, aren't they?
The whole prices, yeah.
The legal cost.
The legal cost is significantly lower.
The
So
legal
is the
costs
legal
are
risk.
significantly low, and actually, different states in Canada, like you go to Saskatchewan, who wants to go there, is the best. They'll give you like 65, but if you have a film that you can do in Saskatchewan, or you can.
For those who don't know, it's a big forest with snow, big plain fields,
But they also have stages. They have
the
stages.
size of Poland, I think.
Yes. And they have stages, and if you can do the film there, you don't really have to bring much money with you. You can do it, and they will be very helpful. As I say, Montreal has a huge visual effects incentive, and they will help you. And Canada is fantastic. New York is not bad. There are some different rules. Like in New York, they have a really strange rule that you have to shoot 1 day on stage. Only 1 day, because I think the law started because the guy who built the stages there came to the governor and said, I want to bring films here. So they have within the law, so you have at least 1 day to have on stage. But they have also, you have to make sure before you go to a state that they didn't run out of the money for the year. Because sometimes they do. And sometimes they do run out, but they have money from last year. Some states allow to transfer the money. Another good state is New Mexico. I did a film in New Mexico. It was actually a film that was funded by an English distribution company, and they took a $7 million loan, which was a loan from the New Mexico government, and they become participant. They're partners in the film, but the loan was very low interest, or I think it was even no interest, and it was for like 5 years or something like this. But you have to use their people. It's a big deal, but they have very good incentives there. And by now they have good crews and they have good stages, and New Mexico is good if you want to do Western. A lot of empty too.
But I don't know if there's somebody here from the Polish Film Commission, but for example, to continue what Nava says, if you take like New York, the city of New York decided that they will provide the productions with all the policemen or police people which you need gratis, no money. You need to block a street, You need to block something. You need to make sure that your trucks are having a place. We pay $250 a day for a policeman in Israel. And in many countries, you need police service because you need police service if you need to block roads and things and this and that. New York comes to you and says, don't pay a penny. We will
Yeah,
give
but
it to
on
you.
the other hand, you have to have 2 drivers on a truck. And the drivers make more money than the producer in New York.
that's
But
for
New York,
sure.
I have to tell you, I'll give you a very good example. I was involved with an Italian film a few years back that actually the Italian company bought the rights for a book that was written for New York. Small book was written for New York, and they were trying to get money from Ryan, from this and from this. They ended up actually, they got the advances from Ryan. They got money from the Italian distributor. But they ended up going to New York and actually getting so much money in tax benefits in New York, just the refunds, that they managed to do this film, a very nice feature film, for I think less than $7 million, which is a very good amount for an American film. So they funded it in a very good way. Basically, I don't think the producers had to put any equity in this film. I think at the end they needed something for post-production, and they found a guy that gave them a couple of $100. But they managed to do it. So, yeah, you can. The little engine that could.
Any more
else?
questions or comments from?
And I'm the one who's doing the film about Nava Just wanted to
Excuse
It's
me,
the Israeli fund.
Nava, I want to say goodbye. I think everybody have to plane to catch to Moscow. It was a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Bye. No. We should go?
No, seriously, because many of you are young, and I worked with Nava. The first time we worked together, she doesn't want me to say, but I will. It was in May 1973 when we met on a project, and we are still alive, so there is hope.
And we're still friends.
But seriously now, I'm doing a lot of lectures, and honestly, I think that nowadays, listening to her and all of that, to be today a producer, you have to ask yourself seriously, what do you want out of yourself as a producer? Because there's so much more that was than it was in the old days. You have to decide for yourself, do I want to be a creative producer who's very good with development, with content, with being with the director, with the writer, and be hands-on on the content? Do I want, or do I have the talent to be what we call a financial engineer type producer, who's very good with the finances and the money and the funds, and knows how to talk to the banks and to accountants and read spreadsheets and all of that, which is part of life? Or you want to be a producer which comes from down under, like me, that knows the nuts and bolts of top sheets, of day out of day, of call sheets, of making the schedule, of the nuts and bolts of being a first AD or a line producer for years. Today, in my opinion, to combine the whole 3 things in one person, it's really getting very difficult. We live in Europe. You are part of media. I'm not, but you are in part of media. There are endless options, funds, image, this, that. By the time, and you have to ask yourself, as a producer, really, where do you want to put your energy? And how do you want to spend your hours of the day? To learn all the different financial options in Europe, it's a profession in itself. To work with the filmmakers on the development and the script and all of that, this again takes time. And then being a hands-on type producer without